38 people watched a woman being murdered, and not one of them did anything. It's one of psychology's most famous stories. It's also mostly false. The number came from conversations between police and journalists, but one newspaper article turned it into history. 38 witnesses, no telephone calls, no help. A perfect story, built on evidence nobody could properly verify. Just after 3 in the morning, on March 13th, 1964, 28-year-old Kitty Genovese arrived home from work in Keir Gardens, Queens. A man followed her from her car and attacked her outside her apartment building. That part is tragically real. 2 weeks later, the New York Times published a front-page story claiming 38 respectable, law-abiding citizens had watched the attack from their windows. Not one called the police. Not one came downstairs. New York had apparently become a city of locked doors, filled with people who simply didn't care. The story spread through newspapers, documentaries, and psychology lectures. It helped inspire research into what became known as the bystander effect. The idea that the more people who witness an emergency, the less personally responsible each individual may feel. But there was a problem. The famous 38 witnesses could never be matched to a verified list of 38 people who had actually seen the murder. Later investigations found that the attack happened in separate locations. Nobody witnessed the entire sequence. Most neighbours saw nothing at all. Some heard only fragments, a scream, an argument, movement somewhere in the darkness. It was 3 in the morning. Visibility was poor. Several believed they were hearing a drunken fight or a domestic dispute, and people did intervene. During the first attack, a neighbour named Robert Moser shouted from his window. The attacker ran away. Kitty managed to move around the building out of view before he returned. There is also evidence that at least one person attempted to contact the authorities. And after the final attack, Kitty's neighbour and friend, Sophia Farah, rushed outside. She found Kitty, held her, and stayed with her until help arrived. That woman vanished almost completely from the version taught for decades, because compassion complicated the headline. In 2007, 3 psychologists examined the available archival evidence. Their conclusion was blunt. There was no evidence that 38 people witnessed the murder. No evidence that they all understood what was happening. And no evidence that every witness remained inactive. But the myth arrived at precisely the right moment. New York was anxious about crime, crowded cities, and the terrifying possibility that modern life was turning neighbors into strangers. The story confirmed what people already feared. In 2004, The Times revisited the case and acknowledged serious problems with its original account. In 2016, it described that reporting as flawed and said it had grossly exaggerated both the number of witnesses and what they perceived. But by then, the story had been copied into textbooks for generations. The correction was a footnote. The myth was already part of the culture. The bystander effect is real. But the 38 witnesses? That wasn't evidence. It was a parable wearing the clothes of fact.